Welcome back, hopefully. We live today, and have for a long time now, in what's called a throwaway culture of objects and of people. We view the earth, life, humanity, as arbitrary objects of domination. How can we control this? How do I have power over it? How do I make it do what I want to do? Sort of the dancing bear problem. We need to understand the connectedness of life. Hear that bird? Sitting in a tree. I don't know. Maybe he's happy, maybe he's not. I don't know his language. But he's connected to where he is. We're not. We need a holistic change. And I don't care if you call it psychological, spiritual, or whatever. We need a fundamental, holistic change of mind, body, spirit, thought, action. Political, economic, social. We need to stop exploiting. And it's not even for use, it's for profit. We need to stop exploiting and destroying. And out of that creation of profit on one end, we're creating poverty on the others for those who can't afford it. We need to stop destroying the earth, the plants, the animals, each other. We need to change, big time. There's a thing out there called integral ecology. It means holistic. Everything's integrated. It requires, as I've said before, spiritual conversion, but it also requires cultural conversion. I'm going to be honest, I've had the best life out there. Being born post-war in New York City, you were in the best of places at the best of times. If it was happening there. As a kid, they say, what do you want to do when you grow up? And they meant it. There are people today who have PhDs and still haven't found jobs. The thing is, you had to get an education, you had to get skills, and then you had a career. And I have had a career, and now I have a pension, and I'm living a good life. That's part of the problem. Not that I want to impose a bad life on people, but the thing is, our life, and indigenous peoples all around the world don't understand this. We don't. Our life has to be an attitude of caring for the earth, for what it gives us, for each other, for what we give one another. And if you will, even our relationship to God, or whatever you posit out there. There has to be something, whatever term we use, that is the foundation of existence. And without that, nothing exists. It's a state of being. In essence, we really have to denounce, and I mean denounce, our culture of waste. We get bored with things that we paid money for, and we throw them out or give them to secondhand stores. Not that they're not useful, but we're bored with them, or they're not in style, or whatever the reason is. And then we exploit in order to make new ones. We pay and go into debt and max out our credit cards, and the whole cycle continues. We're treating life and all the things in it simply as object of use, abuse, amusement. Does anything really have value anymore? Or is it just a commodity to be shuffled off one direction or the other and nobody really cares? Integral ecology also requires more than just empty words and promises from what you hear from the politicians. It demands practical and concrete steps that require the average person to recognize that they're co-creators and stewards of creation. What we do, in a sense what we reap, we sow. Think about what we've reaped and think of where it's going. We have to preserve nature. Leonard O'Brien had a great idea when he got a hold of this island. He said, I don't want people on it, and I'm going to make sure they don't come. A writer that I read long ago had an interesting thing. She said, once human footprints aren't on this island, nature reclaims it. I have a vision of the Earth millions of years from now. We're not going to destroy the Earth. And the Earth will have life. And there will be absolutely no sign of us. And the Earth will have healed. It begins with how we feel about ourselves, how we relate to other human beings, and everything else that lives. And it really comes down to our economic and global policies and practices. And, be mindful of who you vote for. Everything is connected. That is the point we lose. Somebody believes that this stuff here and this tree that stands next to me and these plants behind me are something else. Well, without them, I'm not here, and without me, they're not here. Although without me, they stand a better chance. Relationships, and if you go into quantum physics, you realize this. Relationships are built, not here, but at a molecular and atomic levels. I mean, quantum physics is doing stuff today that just boggles the mind. It happens between plants and animals. It happens between species. There are networks and systems that all work together. Everything you see right here is only a part of it. Most of it's happening under the ground. Everything here is connected. And I'll get into that in another series, but trust me, everything here is connected to one another, and they all know it. We have to seek solutions, and they're out there, which consider these interactions between the natural systems and our social systems. They go hand in hand. We can do this, but we have to change in order to get there. We are not faced with two separate crises, one environmental and the other social or economic and stuff like that. It's a complex crisis which everything on every level is connected. And that interconnectedness means that environmental exploitation, which gives us all the stuff we like to have, and environmental degradation, not only exists the resources that the Earth provides finitely, but all of this gives us our sense of life. And without that, what are we bequeathing to the future? Ecology cannot be separated from what's called the common good. Common being not just human, but everything. It's the sum of all the conditions of social life that allow social groups, whoever they are, their individual members like me, access to our own fulfillment if we create a life that aspires to that. It requires social peace, stability, security for all people, for all species, for all life of the earth itself. Integral ecology and the common good includes justice between the generations. The world that I received belongs to those who follow. I have 4 grandchildren. They're not going to have the life that I've had. I'm guilty of that. And how can I face them? Tell them I love them, if I don't love them enough to make sure they have life. That's why I'm doing this series.